in this county. It is time you listen to us. I want to know why these projects had no problem going forward with driving on the beach. Then Weston says, we don't want driving on the beach. Then Hard Rock goes, oh, let's jump on that bandwagon too. And now all of a sudden we have these 3 ordinances in front of us to remove beach driving behind these properties. Yet at the same time, Hilton is building a property across from Bel Air Plaza with driving behind their beach and not asking for anything. And I don't think Hilton is an ignorant company. They see the value of the beach and the cars behind it and choose to not only build, but build outside of what you are calling the core area, which happens to be from Seabreeze to ISB, not from University to Silver Beach. Thank you.
Okay. Luigi. Yes. Okay, now, before we go any further, I'm going to call some names and I'd like you to stand up. Tristan, Karen Ricks, and Mel McCoy. Now, if you forward, please.
They
can just stay right there?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys just stay right there. These are the 4 individuals that Ms. Ouija is talking for. Ma'am, please state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes. And if you guys would like to, you can sit down now. 6? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. 6 minutes. See, even I make mistakes once in a while.
Luigi Condic, 718 North Olive Avenue, Daytona Beach. I usually try and stay out of county business, but this brought me in. I come before you to address the process and consequences of these proposed ordinances. I have found the entire process disingenuous. This do-or-die push to eliminate driving didn't originate with residents, nor did it come from Summit or Bayshore without prodding. I attended both developers' public discussions from the beginning, and both indicated beach driving wasn't a concern. I'm not even certain any single group of elected officials started this. So I question who specifically pushed this to happen in this fashion and why. We already have 30 miles of no-drive beachfront. Who needs more? Here are the arguments I find insufficient for passage of these ordinances. Proponents of no beach driving say no driving will fix blight. The same group of people promoting this idea are some of the same people who ignored the cause of blight for decades. Eliminating beach driving has nothing empirically to do with blight. Didn't fix anything on the west side of A1A in the core tourist area. Probably the least useful tool we have to fix blight. Proponents of no beach driving say 5-star hotels and Hard Rock brand will only come here if there is no driving. Yet there is no mention of a 5-star hotel in the ordinances, and what good is a 5-star hotel to small business owners if people are afraid to leave the hotel? Proponents of no beach driving say safety is a concern, yet A1A is a 4-lane state highway that is nearly impossible to cross now, and if parking lots are used on the west side, it will have a terrible effect on our neighborhoods. And who is going to pay for the remedy for crossing and our lowered neighborhood property values? Proponents of no beach driving say using eco funds for parking lot is acceptable. I actually find it a perversion of the intent of eco funds. Proponents of no beach driving say that cars create an environmental hazard. How is this worse environmentally than allowing 500 rooms many stories high to be built directly on the beach so that the sun won't shine on our beach and our beach will erode at an even faster rate? Many cities are actually limiting growth like this on our beaches. Proponents of no beach driving say that this isn't the beginning of privatization. Have you been to Destin or Sandestin lately? There are actual signs on the beach that say, for the use of our guests. At high tide, the only available place to walk or bike is the ocean itself. Destin has a small lot where people try to park. Traffic is ridiculous, and you couldn't pay me to go back there. Proponents of no beach driving say that this is economic development. We say 5, 4, and 3-star hotels will basically provide the same construction jobs and the same number of low-wage jobs. Proponents of no beach driving say it will increase our tax base. We ask, why was the information from our property tax appraiser ignored? And finally, why would you put the desires of your tax-paying residents last? We should be the first in the minds of elected officials. We elected you to represent us, not fight us in favor of special interests. I believe the consequences have not been adequately addressed. Pushing this scheme for whatever and whomever has taken our cities off course and turned our county upside down. I think it is terrible and irresponsible. It is jeopardizing and tainting any future working relationship among us to address real issues. In my opinion, this should have been allowed to get this far without much more realistic and open discussion that involved the people that elected you. Please don't enact these ordinances. Please let Volusia vote. Thank you.
Okay, John Anthony, are you here?
No, he left.
He left. James Harper. Come on up front, Mr. Harper. Have you sit in one of these chairs up front. We've refilled this up. Kate Abels. Is that you, ma'am? Can I have a staff member come down with a microphone, please? We're good? Okay, before Ms. Abels starts talking, I will call a couple more people. Mr. Harper, did you show up? Yes, you're here. Okay. Teresa Rice. Oh, man, where'd all these bodies come from? You just showed up?
You called us before, but we...
Oh, okay. Hey, Ms. Rice, are you available? And sir, I need you to, you can't sit in the aisles. There's a little bit of a fire hazard.
Yes, sir.
If we could just have you find a seat up here front or something, appreciate that. Okay, Ms. Abel, please state your name. Okay, you got everything? You got your name and your address?
Doesn't sound like
It doesn't?
told me it was live. I'll get it.
Okay, we got it.
Off live?
Yeah, Mr. Morris, you know how to operate that thing.
Okay, now just-
Push on the bottom? Yeah, bring that on down. That'll work. Never mind, Mr. Moore,
Okay.
we're good.
My name is Kate Abels. I live at 343 Auburn Drive in Daytona Beach, Florida. I've lived here since 1998. I have a lot of notes that I've been taking during these meetings, and I think everybody's making a lot of good points. I am in favor of letting Volusia vote for beach driving. I mean, they might surprise you. They might vote off beach driving. I've heard say that the Hard Rock Motel and the Western don't care if there's beach driving in front of their facilities. I don't know if that's true or not. I see some head nodding over there. So if they don't care, why are we selling them the beach? I don't understand that. I don't understand chopping up the beach. I enjoy driving down to the beach with my van, driving onto the hard-packed areas, and getting out. I'm an avid reader. I just like to sit there and read. I haven't been in the water in 20 years because I can't get in the water, but at least I can get on the beach. I can watch the sandpipers. I can enjoy God's glory on the beach, and I really enjoy that. I've been in other areas where the beaches are a lot more accessible than Daytona Beach if they did not have the driving. I mean, Ocean City, Hampton Beach, even Puerto Rico have more accessible beaches in our no-drive areas because, as someone said earlier, as a person with a disability, I can't go to no-drive areas. I just can't get there. At this point, all the ramps that we have on Daytona Beach or in Volusia County, they fill up with sand and nobody clears the sand off. They go down to the soft sand on the beach. Well, okay, we're dead in the water at that point. I can't go any further. If I can't drive on the beach, I can't get to the areas I need to be at. I was here when they closed off the beach in front of the Adams, I think it was Adams Market at that time, and spoke against it at that time, that it was going to expand in years to come, and here we are again. At that time, to put in place accessibility for people with disabilities in that area, they had built a parking garage, to which we objected because high-top vehicles could not park in the garage, and they swore that they would fit in the garage, and lo and behold, high-top vehicles do not fit in the parking garage. So there's no place for anybody to park if they have a high-top vehicle to get to that no-drive beach. They also had a trolley, and that was supposed to get people to the beach and be safe, and that, I don't know how long that lasted, but it wasn't very long. And again, that to me was just something to put people aside and say, okay, it's all going to be accessible. But my experience with the history at this point is that these accessible features either don't stay or are never put in the first place. And I would say vote no, please, and let Volusia vote. Let the people have a word. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Susan Waters?
My name's Susan Waters. I live at 322 Lenox Avenue, Daytona Beach. And as a resident and property owner of Volusia County, I keep hearing all about the economic benefits we will reap if we give up beach driving. But there are no guarantees. Experience reminds us of Bray and Gillespie and their deal in which the city of Daytona Beach utilized its power of eminent domain to take private properties of longtime business owners along a segment of the beach. They were given very generous zoning grants not normally available to other developers. Then they filed bankruptcy in 2008, leaving behind a path of hotels that were not maintained and became unsightly along the beachfront. Now it is the county who wants to give incentive deals to other developers. Calamia will increase revenue and have a positive economic impact on the county. There are no guarantees. These hotels are going to bring in their own management teams, which will be paid well. However, the majority of jobs you're talking about creating are minimum wage, housekeeping, food services, maintenance jobs, which won't benefit the residents of Volusia County. If you really want to benefit the residents of Volusia County, instead of the parking, you could demand they provide health insurance for all their employees, including part-time employees, a matching 401k plan, and minimum wage of at least $10 an hour. Now, let's see how fast they really want to develop projects here. They're here because Daytona has a reputation of letting developers have whatever they want, build whatever they want, then staff them with our residents at mediocre wages with no benefits and send their profits back to corporate. I'm a native Daytonian, and it is difficult with the mediocre wages to get by and live at that rate of pay. If you're truly interested in the residents of Volusia County, you need to work harder to bring more companies like Trader Joe's, which do pay more than minimum wage and provide health insurance to their employees. These are the type of businesses that the council should be wooing. I'm not against growth and development in Daytona Beach. What the owners do with the property they purchase is their prerogative within the existing configurations and zones which they purchase them. But to diminish the use of the beach and its access to the residents and taxpayers with promises of pie in the sky is unconscionable. If you vote to remove driving from in front of these two projects, you've opened the floodgate for every property to request the same. Please let Volusia vote.
All right. Richard Waters? Hold on. Mrs. Waters, you'll have to step back to your chair. Okay, before you begin, sir, I need to call some names. Teresa Rice, are you available? She showed up. And we'll put her in the file anyway. Pastor Pastore, are you available, sir? Please have a seat right here. And we'll put another Steve Sweeney. Come on up front, Mr. Sweeney. Okay. We were not stopping for lunch. If we have a situation like this,
Yes, they're falling asleep. Right next to you. You can wake him
oh,
up.
Mr. Ray? He's not sleeping. No, he's researching here, working on things.
Several.
Okay, calm down. Easy. We will maintain order, folks. All right, Mr. Waters.
Yes, sir. Richard Waters, 10 Palmetto Days Court, Ormond Beach, Florida. I grew up here. I left town for about 40 years, moved back, retired 2003, and enjoying life. I've listened to this before, after, and probably in the future. It's not about these hotels, it's about eliminating cars on the beach. We talk about economic development. Well, we've had economic development forced down our throats in 1985. There's all this euphoria about God's going to send us profits in these new hotels. That did not happen. Economic development isn't a success story. Success is a success story. If any of these developers or any of you would like to name success stories in our now core area, please do so. They don't exist. You haven't addressed in the last 30 years blight, things to do, entertainment. You haven't improved the core area. Now you want to expand it. Why? Fix what's broken. Don't break more of it. Council members, county administrators, and their Daytona Beach counterparts say that a hotel is necessary to ensure the success of the convention center, called the Ocean Center, which opens up next month, and it will eliminate blight in the Main Street area. 1985. Has that happened? No. Did we cause that? No. You did. The cities did. And in some respect, the developers did. You can't have 7 different hotels down there when only 4 or 3 physically exist. That's not success. You don't replace a failure with another failure and expect success. If you're going to do anything, fix what is broken. In the meantime, let us vote, because I think we can actually do a better job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Linda Smiley. And to fill the seat that she was sitting in, I will take, make sure I get this right. Ken Strickland. She'll come forward and sit up here in the front row. Ms. Smiley.
Hi, my name is Linda Smiley. I live at 357 Manhattan Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida, and I am proudly one of those people, and I ask that you don't steal our beach and you give it to your friends before we get a vote.
1 moment. What happened to the timer?
It's on. It's on.
Oh, okay. It just died up there. I'm so sorry. Please continue.
This issue is one that you as a council should have had town meetings in the evening for, like you had for the fire department closures, that your residents could attend. Instead, you chose to ignore that, and you chose to ignore our request to put this on the ballot and have us gather petitions. We are about done with that task, and so now you are rushing to push these ordinances through that were created for the developers by their friends for their benefit only. These ordinances do not benefit the residents. There has still been no standards really put in place to prevent further closure of the beach. I'd like to read about some myths. Red sand we hear about coming in will end beach driving. Truth is, red sand has always been a part of our beach, especially to the north of Ormond and south by Punks Inlet. It comes and goes, and you can drive on it. Driving on the beach is unsafe. Truth is, during 100 years of driving on our beaches, approximately 10 people have been killed in accidents, and that is 1 every 10 years, far less than any street in our area with that much traffic. Driving endangers turtles and other protected species. Volusia County's own documents state that driving and car emissions do not endanger turtles because most turtles nest in the areas where only dunes are in the far north and south of the beaches. 80% of people say they don't want beach driving. The truth is, 80% of the local realtors' clients who are looking to buy in this area have said they don't like beach driving. But no data has been collected regarding the desires of those who live here already. Driving causes blight and prevents economic prosperity in the core area of Daytona's beachside. The truth is, no driving has been allowed on the beach in that area for the past 20 years. And the lack of driving has not in any way fostered economic development there. There is no actual data to support this theory, and in fact, historical data suggests no driving actually hurts the local economy. There is handicapped access in areas where there's no driving, and that will continue. The truth is, there's steel ramps to the soft sand next to the seawall. There's no way for those who can't walk to get from the end of the ramp to the water's edge, as they can do now by simply parking their cars on the beach. So removing driving removes their handicap access. Off-beach parking will work just as well as parking on the beach. The truth is, crossing A1A to get to the beach is far more dangerous and less desirable for many. Driving must be eliminated because the beach is getting narrower due to rising sea levels. The truth is, while there still is an increase in sea level, there's no data to correlate an effect on the width of the beach. Our beaches have become narrower and then wider decade after decade, and this shift will continue. Driving must be eliminated for five-star hotels.
Ma'am, your time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harper, you have been very patient this evening.
Yes, sir.
I will then call Deborah Jernigan. She had to go to work? Okay. Are you speaking, sir? Oh, you are speaking, all right, okay. All right, well, let me find another person. Robert Taylor, are you available? Come on up front. And Mr. Harper?
Well, Mr. Davis, I believe I was supposed to be representing at least, I know.
Yes, I was just going to do that.
I'm sorry, I'll get 6 minutes. Is that
You
correct?
will get your 6 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so for the record, Mr. Harper, I shall read the list. If there is anybody that I do not read, please let me know. There is Mr. James Harper, of course. Kelly Register, is that her? Please stand, ma'am. And Bonnie Pauls. Or is that Pauls? Pauls. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. You have all been recognized. Please have a seat, and you have 6 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, my name is James Harper, 341 Weaver Street, Daytona Beach, Florida. You know, I think it is outrageous that you all will be voting without all the facts. The dozens of people who stood up behind Hyde Brown, we do not know where they live. We do know they are part of the elite who probably don't live in Daytona Beach. There should be full disclosure on how Hyatt and his elite people will benefit from your vote. More than likely, they do not live in the city of Daytona Beach. The people of Daytona Beach have spoken. A resolution was sent to you voting against driving on the beach, of supporting driving on the beach. I take that back. Here's the thing I want to make clear. 50 years ago, black people were banned from Daytona's world's most famous beach. It was an unwritten rule enforced by the elite people of the time. It was wrong then to ban blacks, and it is wrong now. Here we are, it's 2015, the same elite privileged people want to ban cars on the beach for other privileged elite people who happen to be hotel owners who want to cater to other privileged elite people. You are supposed to be representing the people, not yourselves, most of you who could be classified as the elite. The people of Daytona Beach have spoken. The Daytona Beach City Commission, as I said earlier, who represents the people, refused to support a resolution banning cars on the beach. You should do the same. Like banning blacks from the beach is wrong now, so is banning cars on the beach wrong now. I urge you today to follow the advice of a Republican many of you admire, Nancy Reagan. She is famous for the phrase, just say no. Please, just say no. Some of you obviously have an addiction problem. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. The Hilton, for example, Daytona Beach's oceanfront resort, went up for sale last week. Obviously, banning cars from driving and parking in front of the Hilton has not made a difference. And now you want to do this for 2 other major hotels? Insanity. The onus of hotels being successful should not depend on banning driving on the beach in front of these hotels. Good service and marketing will determine the future of the hotels. Don't set a bad precedent today and ban beach driving. As it's what's said in the movie, I'm sure y'all remember the movie, Field of Dreams? Build it and they will come. These hotels should not depend on beach driving ban to be successful. I know the NAACP is saying vote no. Hopefully you all are hearing what they have to say. You know, it's sad that you all are acting as if you all were the city of Daytona Beach, because you're making decisions that will affect the residents of Daytona Beach. Again, the majority of the people have spoken. The people have said, we do not want to ban parking and driving on the beach. We want to drive on our beach. We want to have that right. But you all are supporting the elite. I'm very disappointed in my representative, Josh Wagner, because he used to represent the people. He used to speak up for the people.
Sir, you're going very close to a line.
Okay. All I was doing was recognizing my
I
councilman.
understand that you were starting to go down on a road that I wanted to stop you before you went down.
The point has been made, Mr. Chairman. You all are making the decision that in which you are supporting the elite, the power hungry, the rich, not common folk that live in Daytona Beach. The average Daytonan cannot even afford possibly to go to the Hard Rock Cafe, Hard Rock Hotel, or possibly the Westin. But they can afford to drive on the beach. That's something they can't afford to do. So you all must remember who you all are representing. You're representing the people, the little people who can afford to drive on the beach. Hopefully you hear what I'm saying. It appears to me the fix is in. And I'm sorry to say that I believe that. But hopefully you all will remember where you came from. Because this is just outrageous that you all are not listening to the people. Daytonans want to drive on their beach. You all are saying you're speaking for Volusians, but it's the Daytonans who have to live with your decision today. So please think about what you're doing. Support the people. The people is who you are supposed to be representing. Once again, I appreciate you hearing me out. I don't mind being the one to say things that make people uncomfortable. But therefore, it needs to be heard. And hopefully you all will make the right decision today and support the people of Daytona Beach. Your decision will affect the people of Daytona Beach. The people of Daytona Beach will be affected by your vote today, not Volusia County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Teresa Rice. Teresa Rice. All right, no Teresa Rice. Pastor Mike Pastore. And to fill the 2 seats, Robert Taylor, calling Robert Taylor, and Charles Smythe.
I'm here.
Oh, you're Robert, okay. I'm looking for Charles Smythe, or is that Smith?
Here I am.
Have a seat there on the end there, sir. And let me get one more person. Pete Caracas.
Yes, sir.
Come on up front and have a seat back here, sir. Pastor, good morning.
Chairman Davis, it's good to be with you this afternoon. Esteemed members of the County Council. My name is Michael Pastore, also known on Richwood Avenue as Pastor Mike. This is not my usual issue. I run a website called DaytonaHomeless.com. I'm here today to speak against overreach by the government. And that's what I'm most concerned about. You know, I've been around Volusia County for 23 years off and on. I first came here in 1976 as a competition skydiver. I know it's hard to envision that. And we drove over to the 17 miles from DeLand over to Daytona Beach and said, wow, that's really cool. You know, we can drive on the beach, we can cruise till the wheels fall off. You know, we can have a great time. I was in my early 20s. And I always was enamored of this area. And I said, you know, I'm coming back. And I did come back. I got a job, I moved to Ormond by the Sea, and then I moved to DeLand. I went to work as a marketing manager for Glidden Electronics on the truck route. And I had 3 beautiful girls that I raised in New Smyrna Beach. And you know what? I have a lot of respect for the gentleman that brought his entire family here, because as the father of 3 young girls, you know, on Saturday or Sunday, they'd get up and jump on the bed and say, let's go to the beach, let's go digging, let's go to the beach, let's go digging. And we're like, they're tiny kids. And, you know, I wouldn't dream of walking them across 4 lanes of traffic. I just wouldn't. We loaded up all the fun noodles and the boogie boards and the buckets and all the toys, and we drove on the beach and found a parking space, and we had a fun day at the beach. I'm speaking on behalf of the future parents. I want them to have that same experience that my family had. Now, as far as government overreach goes, you know, I want to correct maybe quickly a misconception people have. Volusia's going to get a vote. Volusia's going to have a vote, because that's our right. If we petition the government to change the charter, then we're going to get a vote. The question is, ladies and gentlemen, are you going to thwart the will of the people by cramming these ordinances down our throats so quickly, and then huddle with staff and come up with legal strategies to fight the will of the people? Now that's obscene. That's crazy talk. You've heard the people. That's what they want to do. You know, we'll see what the vote comes out to. And, you know, I believe that good will prevail. Thank you for your time.
All right. Steve Sweeney. And to take that position, Mark Applegate. Didn't you already speak, Mr. Applegate? You did? Yes, okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Applegate, you only get to do that once. Harry Jennings, are you available, sir? I will put you on the bottom of the pile if you show up from downstairs. We do have some, if there's a...
Mayor Jennings had a list here from downstairs.
Okay. So Harry Jennings has 2. All right, we do have some space available if people from downstairs would like to come upstairs and speak. Pace Allen, or come up here and sit. Mr. Pace Allen, you available? There you are. Come on up and have a seat there. Just try to keep it going. Mr. Sweeney, please state your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Sweeney. I live at 1351 Old Kings Road in Holly Hill. I'm a 3rd generation Volusia County resident. My parents, wife, children, and myself have all grown up on the beaches in the greater Daytona Beach area. Fishing, swimming, surfing, and yes, driving on the beach is a way of life when you're born and raised here. There are already plenty of traffic-free beach areas. To take yet another area of beach is extremely unnecessary. If this ordinance were to pass, the future of beach driving will be in jeopardy. Every hotel will want their own section of privatized beach. Contrary to popular belief, people don't come to Daytona for their great off-beach parking, regardless of what side of A1A it's on. A matter such as this should be voted on by its tax-paying residents. If that's not permitted, I would strongly encourage county council members to do the right thing and vote no on this issue. Don't fall victim to corporate greed like so many times in the past. Remember, it's called the world's most famous beach for a reason. Let's keep it that way.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Strickland, Ken Strickland, please step up. And Dale Hetzerler, you'll come up front, please, sir, and sit down in the gallery.
He had to leave.
Sir, ma'am?
He had to leave.
Oh, you had to leave.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Amy Rutledge.
She had to leave.
Okay. Ginger Bayer.
She had to leave.
Lloyd Mackey. You don't have that one? Okay. So Lloyd Mackey, you come on up here and have a seat in the front row there, and Ms. Tim, get the floor, sir.
Ken Strickland, 1208 North Halifax, Daytona Beach, Florida. First, I'd like to apologize for my wife having to leave and not be able to speak, and for those hundreds, probably thousands of people that sign petitions that have to work so they can pay taxes so that there'll be money for the politicians to give away in the little communities in our town. I've spent a lot of time out on the street holding a clipboard in the heat, in the rain, and those ordinances right there have made a lot of people angry. There's a lot of solidarity. We've got petitions from the blacks, the Hispanics, the whites, the rich, the poor, and the middle class that couldn't be here today because they're working. Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, and everything in between. They're very solid on this deal. They're not happy. They're not happy with it. They want to vote. You know, I came here a long time ago, and it was a great place. An old friend of mine that was here before me, he said, I moved to Daytona because they had good sleeves. We don't have nothing that's fun anymore. They've taken all the fun out of it. When I moved from Georgia, there was advertisements that said, the rules are different here. They've gotten real different since I moved here. I recommend that you vote these down or put them on hold because if you knock over that 9-foot stack of petitions, in my mind, they will become promises and they'll get to vote sooner or later on that.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, you are the next individual up, and Susan Lear. Are you here, ma'am? Is that you? Okay, come on up and have a seat. I'm going to fill this seat with Martin Zimmerman. Okay, we'll throw Mr. Martin Zimmerman's name in the pile and see if he comes up. All right. Robert Taylor.
My name is Robert Taylor. I live at 1200 Riverside Drive, Holly Hill. My first impression of the shutting down the beach was when we actually shut it down at night. I was working that night when we ticketed all those people. I was in the Daytona Beach Police Department. And I watched all the ticketing, and it really hit the fan of the Daytona Beach City Commission later because people found out what they lost. They didn't know what they lost until they lost it. I watched as the Main Street area completely fell apart. Good restaurants gone, businesses shuttered, only part-time business during Bike Week and during the other special events. Also saw Seabreeze Boulevard turn into from a very classy place where there was lots of good businesses, lots of clothing stores, to places where we have nude dancing, nude bars, sleazy bars, all through that area. That's what happened through that night. And also when we shut down the beach, everything access to that beach route went north, and you lost a lot of things, the surf shops, etc. began to get out of that area. The one on Broadway is gone. Broadway itself was not that great a place, but wow, it changed big time with the cutting down of the night driving on the beach. And the daytime driving, when it was gone, everything else seemed to go with it. I was there when we took those people, the transients out of those motels, and took them out of there so we could get rid of them, so we could go up to Marriott and eventually the Ocean Walk. That area improved, but there was no improvement outside of things taken by eminent domain and built by the county or the city. In fact, it deteriorated. You have businesses that are still shuttered, as I said before. The only change I saw in that core area that was positive was the water park. Anyway, I would like to see you not vote for this, although I feel you will, but we should stop it. It's got to stop because it's going to tear this whole area apart. Beach driving here allows me access, if I'm on the other side of the river, allows all my neighbors access to the beach, which we normally would not have. It's a long walk for some of them. So I wish you would vote no, but if you don't vote no, I wish you would stop it here right now.
Hey, Mr. Smith. Ma'am, if you're not a Mr. Smith. I'm just filling up the front row here. Okay, you're in a rotation. So did Paul Zimmerman show up? He had to go to work. What about Martin Zimmerman? I hope that's Martin. Is he not here? Okay, well, I'll leave him in the bottom here. Brian Glaze? Are you present, sir? Oh, here he comes? Okay, we'll have him. Brian, come on up front and have a seat right there. And Jeff White, are you here? Come on up front and have a seat in the front row. Now, is this Mr. Smith or Smythe?
Smythe.
Smythe. I was right the first time.
I am Charles Smythe, 2011 Daytona Beach. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today. From 1985 to 2002, Daytona Beach and Volusia County poured $15.7 million into the Marriott Adams Mark Hilton and $19.6 million for the Ocean Walk Shops and Wyndham Ocean Walk Resort, which equals $50.7 million in 2013 dollars. Bill Geary and his partner, Mr. Gillespie, claimed they were going to build 2 luxury hotels on the boardwalk and a second ocean pier at Main Street with a Ferris wheel. It never happened. Mr. Geary then developed Adventure Landing and bought 38 oceanfront hotels. Everything went into bankruptcy, and Mr. Geary is now in federal prison for stealing money from the Ocean Walk investors. The city later refinanced the bonds used to pay for the Hilton and Ocean Walk projects, taking on $37.7 million in debt initially, to be paid back by 2031. Daytona Beach and Volusia County recently gave $40 million total of the taxpayers' money to the multi-billionaires that own NASCAR and International Speedway for Daytona Rising in incentives, quote unquote, $4.2 million to JetBlue, and the county and Daytona Beach plan unfinalized assistance, which equals corporate welfare, to the Hard Rock Hotel and Desert Inn developers. Quote, utopian schemes of leveling, that is, redistribution of wealth and a community of goods, central ownership of the means of production and distribution, are as visionary and impracticable as those which vest all property in the British Crown. They are arbitrary, despotic, and in our government, unconstitutional. Unquote. Samuel Adams. Let's return the control of the beach to the beachfront cities, open up all the beach approaches, remove the armed police, and go back to simple lifeguards on ATVs, and our economy will thrive. The current failed policies have resulted in over 300 closed hotels, businesses, and restaurants just in Daytona Beach and Daytona Beach shores alone, have increased crime and blight, and seriously hurt our tourism business since 1985. Don't give any more of the people's God-given beach away to the empty promises of private hotel and condo developers. Lastly, Volusia County spent $39 million to build the Ocean Center, which lost $500,000 every year until an $82 million renovation was completed in 2009, after which it now loses $1.2 million per year. So always be very skeptical of the rosy forecasts painted by consultants, businessmen, and city and county elected officials. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Peter Caracas. Good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
One moment. I need Geraldine Trinette. I hope that's, looks like T-R-I-N-E, or maybe it's Trevette. Geraldine Trevette. If you're downstairs, please come up and join us upstairs. Sorry, sir, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, esteemed members of the County Council, my name is Peter Caracas, and I reside at 300 Emory Drive in the city of Daytona Beach. I represent the Volusia County Republican Assemblies, who forwarded a resolution to all of you throughout your emails, and also we copied Mr. Deneen as well. We evaluated these ordinances and the Let Volusia Vote activities, and we passed a resolution in support of Let Volusia Vote and in opposition to Ordinance 2015-06 2015-07, and 2015-08, or any further attempts to limit access to the beach. Councilwoman Cusack, I want to ask you, there have been press reports which have stated that you tend to hold...
Point of order, sir. You have to address all your questions through the chair, please.
Forgive me, Mr. Chairman. I simply wanted to ask if it was true that Councilwoman Cusack has made a public statement that she intends to vote against these measures, and I was going to thank her for holding true to her campaign promises, if that's the case.
Well, please continue on with your comments.
Okay. Additionally, the gentleman who spoke before me from Daytona Beach, who acknowledged the NAACP and the fact that minorities are going to be discriminated against if this does pass, is correct. We feel exactly the same way. When we analyze this, we feel that the interference with the vehicular traffic on the beach is simply going to minimize access to minorities and the economically disadvantaged, and we as Republicans cannot tolerate that. And therefore, Mr. Chairman, I conclude what I have to say. I have made our position known at this point, and we stand behind it.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Pace Allen. And to fill his spot is Mike Dennis. Sir, please.
Pace Allen, 5334 Georgia Peach Avenue, Port Orange.
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you for this opportunity, and this is just a fantastic opportunity. An opportunity to come together in these matters, I think. I've listened with 2 ears to everybody. I had to go out for a short while, but thank you to the captains of industry and the captains of charity and the captains of liberty. This is a great opportunity. What better to have this family back here, and moms in jury duty. Somebody mentioned Field of Dreams. Yeah, that came to mind as I was driving over, but overshadowing that was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It really was. I'm Jack Nicholson. I meet with a group of disabled people once a week, and then we do other things too, but we take field trips. Let's go for a field trip. Remember the movie? I think I remember it. I could be wrong, but I think he loaded up a group and took them fishing. Some in my group that I meet with, there's about 30 of them that they're on high meds, they're disabled. They might like to make a trip. So what I want to do is plan a bus ride, and anybody else that wants to follow, a van ride, or if and when, I'm thinking right in front of the Desert Inn. I think I would call the chief law enforcement officer and say, hey, draw a line in the sand right here. My bus is going to be there at 9 o'clock, packed, or vans, whoever wants to follow. Set the pace. I'll set the pace. And we'll have a little, drive. It's not just parking on the beach. My 90-year-old dad will probably be with me. When I took him last time, I realized I had him on the inside, outside of the water, so I turned around and went the other way and let him drive. This is a freedom issue, and the educational opportunities are fantastic. We talk about the Constitution. I went to law school. You think they teach you the Constitution in law school? No. I've learned more from citizens about the Constitution, my friend. The highest court in the land is meeting right now by a mom here in our county, the county jury system. John Jay, the first Chief Justice of the United States, said what is still true today. John Jay said the jury has the duty, the responsibility to determine the law and the facts. Anybody been lied to on that one? Yeah, you get lied to in law school, and judges create a little niche there, and they say, follow your conscience. That's your rule right there. If the glove don't fit, you can acquit. The jury has a vote. So we already have a vote. We have a vote, and I thank everybody for the opportunity to address the group. I'm proud as I can be to be a part of this citizen.
Thank you, sir. Lloyd Mackey. Lloyd Mackey showed up. Okay, I'm going to flip him there. Susan Lear, are you Susan Lear? You have been so patient, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Don Kane, I saw you, Don. Come on over. Can I get you to sit up front? And, oh, Betty. Betty's here? Did Betty Kane come with you, sir? Good. Hey, Betty. All right. This is going to be truly amazing. After I call the next name, that's the last name. I heard that. I heard that.
Can we clap now?
Well, no, I've got 5, 6, there's only like 7 people left that are going to speak. Okay, so I'm going to call the last name, so if there's anybody that wishes to speak on this issue, do so now, fill out a yellow form, because when this person says thank you and their time expires, we're going to move on. So, the last name on the Martin is Stu Martin. It says Elaine. Is that both of them or single? Stu Martin, Elaine Martin. Please stand up. Wave a hand. Oh, okay. He's right back there. Okay, we will bring you a microphone, sir. Oh, that's the blind gentleman.
What happened was when you called 3 people that were, I guess they were confused. We thought they were deferring their time to Mr. Brown. I believe they did not intend to defer their time to Mr. Brown. But they did stand up, but I believe they were confused with what was going on. Just as a heads up.
So we're going to...
I don't care if you guys want to go over there and say no to them, and go all ahead, but I'm not. They should be heard. Thank you. They were confused.
Oh, the call.
Guys,
Oh, these people.
they're with
Oh, no, I called... No.
sight impaired services. They got grouped in.
We'll work it out. We'll work it out. We'll take care of that. Okay. So Mr. Stu Marvin. Stu Marvin, are you present? Elaine Marvin? Or is that Stu Elaine or? Okay, well, we'll go through the list. If they don't answer, then we'll move on to the part of it. Miss Susan Lear?